So today we're going to talk about a couple teachers from North Carolina that do a podcast called Financially Independent Teachers.
Yeah, great podcast.
Yeah, they came out with this during COVID. And they started interviewing predominantly teachers to see what they were doing to get on the path towards financial independence. They talked to some teachers that were already there. Um, they were doing a really good job. I don't know how I found them, but I did find them right before I retired. And I listened to a few. And when I retired, I sent this information out. I told the teachers where I worked, hey, you should check these guys out. They're doing a good job interviewing teachers and others about financial independence that's geared towards teachers.
Yeah.
So about a couple months ago, I decided, you know what, I'm going to apply to be on their show, see if they want to hear what I have to say about being financially independent. As you can see it right down here, I was on episode 192. I retired when I was 50, and I talked about how I did that on their podcast. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was kind of weird because I used my phone to do it because I thought I had my computer set up, and I'm like panicking right before we were going to get online. But I got my phone, and it all worked out really well.
Did you do it over Zoom or just over a phone call?
Yeah, over Zoom, so we could see each other.
Nice.
So the two guys are Brandon and Dave. They do a good job. One is still a teacher. The other one decided to go in administration. Brandon, he's an assistant principal now. But it was a good experience. I talked, and it was very basic. I was lucky that I learned about investing at an early age. I realized that if I started investing, I could save up and buy 4 years and potentially retire at 50. So I started doing that in my mid-20s, and it actually worked out. It worked out. I was able to retire at 50.
Nice.
And that's part of what I talk about on the podcast. But I would encourage you all to listen to some of these. There's 195 now. They've been doing it for a long time. They're coming up on 4 years.
Yeah.
I went through, I haven't listened to them all, but I scanned through some of them. Some of them are from just random teachers throughout the United States. Like I'm a random teacher. I'm no one special. I just followed some guidelines and got to a point where I could buy 4 years and retire at 50. Nothing special. But they really you can learn from all these teachers. They also have some financial experts on their show. They've had some of people that work for Ramsey Solutions, like Rachel Cruz and George Camel, if you're familiar with them. So they've had some people better known. They've also had J.L. Collins, one of my favorites. He wrote A Simple Path to Wealth. He's interviewed twice, so you can find them on here too. Yeah. And it's really easy. I'll show you really quick. You can scan. I'm showing you this because you can skim through, and you can kind of get a sense of what they're all about. So if you want to learn about an LAPE teacher has a lifeguard side hustle, you just click on it. It's about 50 minutes long. Learn a little about her and what she's done.
Yeah. They're relatively short, give or take an hour, right? And for me, I commute to work, so it's about 20 minutes to work. So I plug that in, I listen to them, and they're enjoyable. They're an easy listen to.
Exactly. They come out with a new one every Sunday. So a good habit could be for you, if it works and you have a commute, is every Monday just listen to a new podcast and see what you can learn from a teacher or whoever their guest is on. They also talk about random personal finance. They give advice. They're big on 403Bs, which I appreciate because we've talked about it a lot.
Yep.
They've had some guests on. Dan Otter, the person that started 403B Wise, has been on an episode.
So they're big into making sure you get into the right 403B.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So some of the things we've been talking about.
Right.
But they do it at a bigger level. Obviously, they're hitting a lot of people throughout the nation because there's teachers from all over the United States that have been on this.
Yeah.
So highly recommend it. They also wrote a book. I'll show you really quick. And it's on their website. Sorry to dip out for a second. But it's just the fit position. It's kind of their personal philosophy around finances. And I'll quickly tell you a little bit about it, and then we'll move on. Their big imperatives. They have 3 big imperatives. I'm showing part of the book right here. The first imperative is be frugal. It's a great way to start. Be frugal, live below your means. And then their second imperative is be fearless.
Fearless.
And what they mean by that is invest in the stock market and make good decisions with your taxes and things like that. And then their third one is
be a lifelong learner.
You already knew it. Yeah, be a lifelong learner, which we all should do anyways.
Yep.
So highly recommend this if you want to support these guys. A couple teachers from North Carolina. You go to their website. They have a book right here that you can buy just to support them. Anything else you want to say about these two guys? They're really good guys.
They are. They've got a lot of information, a lot of different ideas coming from a lot of different people from around the nation, whether it's special ed, art, social studies. They're not focused on one curriculum. They talk about side hustles. They talk about which is the better 403b. They talk about money dates with their spouses. So a wide variety of stuff.
Exactly. I'm looking at some notes here because I have too much in my head. They did have 2 other Colorado teachers actually.
They did.
They had a guy by the name of Ben on episode 29. If you want to pause that and write that down if you want. He's a teacher out of Fort Collins.
Yep.
And then another teacher out of Fort Collins, an elementary teacher. Her name's Courtney, was on episode 134.
Yep.
So some local teachers.
Yeah.
Another famous kind of teacher, if you will, because he has his own website, which I encourage you to check out. Jerry Bourne. He's a millionaire educator. He's been on 4 times.
He's got some street cred.
Yeah, he's a good one. He talks about, one of his big things is he talks about how to utilize the 457 plan,
yeah,
and use that to your advantage. So I encourage you to look at his website.
He's got an interesting story.
Yeah, very interesting.
He's at least.
And I'll rattle off that. You could find it on here, but it's episode 17, 63, 123, 172. So really good stuff. Last teacher I want to point out, and they're all good. They're all Crystal Parker Duffy, episode 68. She's really interesting. She actually wrote a book, really tiny book that you can get on Amazon. I don't know if you can get it at your local library. Retirement for Teachers. I enjoy reading. I tagged a few things about it.
Got to personalize there for you.
Yeah, but she wrote a nice little book, Crystal Parker Duffy. So it's just nice that it's our community of teachers coming together, trying to learn from each other,
help each other
out.
Yeah.
And talking to experts on the side, like I mentioned Ramsey Solutions, some of the people from there, and some other people too. So
for sure.
So yeah, this is a great place to go to just learn more about personal finance.
Yeah, we're coming up on a break. Maybe you've got a weekend, like you said. Maybe you've got a little bit of a commute. Download a podcast or two, see what you think, see if you can get some information.
You bet. All right.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody.
See ya.
Cheers.